Today we're about to talk about something almost every American notices the moment they land here. Because let me be honest with you, coming from the United States, Singapore shocked me in a way I wasn't prepared for. Back home, we talk to everyone. We make small talk in elevators. We joke with cashiers. We compliment strangers' shoes for absolutely no reason. Noise is normal. But here, my very first MRT ride felt like stepping into another universe. No one talked. No one even made eye contact. Everyone was calm, focused, efficient, almost like the whole city silently agreed, let's not disturb each other. And I remember thinking, wait, are Singaporeans unfriendly? Or are they just really, really private? But the longer I stayed, the more I realized that my first impression was completely wrong. Because behind the silence, behind the seriousness, and behind the quiet public spaces, something else was happening. Something I didn't expect. Today, I'm going to tell you what I discovered about Singaporeans and why the truth is way more interesting than the stereotype. Stay with me. The Singapore silence. The first thing that really hit me about Singapore wasn't the skyline, or the heat, or even the food. It was the silence. If you're American, you know exactly what I mean. Our public spaces are loud. There's always someone talking, laughing, ranting about politics, or yelling on a phone call that absolutely could have waited. But in Singapore, the MRT feels like a noise-canceling headphone commercial. Everyone stands quietly. Everyone moves with purpose. Everyone seems to have mastered the art of not bumping into each other. And the entire train operates under this unspoken rule. Mind your own business. At first, I didn't know what to make of it. Nobody strikes up conversations. Nobody comments on the weather. Nobody randomly asks, hey man, where are you from? The way Americans casually do. Instead, people stay in their lane. They're focused on their phones. They scroll, read, or just stare ahead peacefully. And absolutely no one is trying to make small talk with a stranger. To an American, that can feel cold, even a little intimidating. But after observing longer, I realized something important. This isn't rudeness. This isn't unfriendliness. This is structure. It's order. It's efficiency. It's a culture built around respecting each other's space, not dominating it. Singaporeans aren't avoiding people. They're avoiding being a disturbance. And once you understand that, the silence doesn't feel cold anymore.
America versus Singapore. Two different social codes. Coming from the US, I had to accept something very quickly. Singapore wasn't the problem. My expectations were, because in America, being friendly is almost like a default setting. We don't just talk a lot, we talk loudly, and we talk to everyone. Back home, you can be standing in a grocery store line and end up knowing the cashier's favorite football team. Strangers compliment your sneakers in the middle of Target. Someone next to you on the bus might suddenly tell you about their divorce, their new job, or their dog. Small talk is like background music, it never really stops. Even if the friendliness is sometimes superficial, it's warm, familiar, comforting. So when I got to Singapore and nobody said, how's it going? Or hey, nice shirt. Or even gave a small nod of acknowledgement, I didn't know what to make of it. But here's what I realized. Americans use friendliness to create connection. Singaporeans use silence to create harmony. In the US, talking feels normal. In Singapore, not talking feels normal. Americans fill empty spaces with conversation. Singaporeans fill it with respect. The idea that you shouldn't intrude on someone else's peace unless you're invited in. It's not coldness. It's cultural calibration. And once I understood that, the city started to make sense. The quiet wasn't a wall. It was just a different way of saying, hey, I respect your space. If you need something, I'm here. And that different, subtle but powerful completely changed the way I saw Singaporeans. Section 3, the moment everything changed. There was a moment, a very specific moment, when everything flipped for me. Up until then, I kept waiting. Waiting for someone to smile first. Waiting for a stranger to say, hey. Waiting for that American-style friendliness to magically appear. But it never did. And then it hit me. Maybe the problem wasn't Singapore. Maybe the problem was that I was waiting. In a country that doesn't operate on waiting. Singapore runs on initiative. Not bold, loud initiative, but gentle, respectful initiative. So I decided to try something new. I stopped waiting for people to approach me. And I started approaching them. And instantly, everything changed. Like the time I asked for directions at the MRT. Not only did the uncle point me the right Way he walked 3 stations with me just to make sure I didn't get lost. Or the hawker stall owner who didn't just take my order. He paused, looked at me and said, "First time, no. Try this instead," and served me the single best chicken rice of my life. Or the auntie who explained Singapore's 2 seasons. Hot and hot with rain. And we ended up laughing under the same umbrella during a sudden downpour. Or the office colleagues who barely spoke a word at first until I showed real interest. Suddenly the conversations flowed. From cultural stories to childhood memories to the right way to order kopi. And that's when I realized something nobody tells you. Singaporeans aren't unfriendly. They're just unlocked not by chance but by choice. Once you break the ice, they reveal a warmth that's subtle, genuine and deeply thoughtful. Not loud, not performative, real. And from that moment on, Singapore stopped feeling like a foreign country and started feeling like a community. Section 4. Why Singaporeans seem reserved. Now let's talk about the part many foreigners, especially Americans, completely misunderstand. Singapore isn't quiet because people are unfriendly. Singapore is quiet because people are busy. This city runs on efficiency. Every hour matters. Every minute is planned. From the moment you step outside, you can literally feel the pace of life. People speed walking to work, students rushing to classes, parents coordinating school drop-offs, office workers timing their commute down to the minute, everyone trying to catch the MRT before the doors close. In Singapore, time isn't just money. Time is survival in a hyper-organized, high-density city. So what happens? People look focused. People look serious. People look like they don't want to be disturbed. To an American, that can easily come across as cold, reserved, uninterested, not friendly. But the truth is much simpler. Singaporeans aren't avoiding you. They're avoiding delays. They're not ignoring you. They're just moving through a system where everyone depends on everyone else not to slow the flow. And there's another layer to it. Privacy here is a sign of respect. No small talk on the MRT because that's your quiet space. No loud conversations in queues because everyone shares the same public environment. No random chatter with strangers because people don't want to intrude. It's not that Singaporeans don't like connecting. They're simply trying not to interfere with your day or let you interfere with theirs. And that's why at first glance Singapore can feel distant. But as you've already seen, once you approach a Singaporean at the right moment, the entire story changes. Section 5. Real connections. And here's the part I never expected. Those tiny moments, the quick questions, the small requests for help slowly started turning into something bigger. Real connections. Real friendships. Real warmth. It didn't happen with big dramatic gestures. It happened in the little things. Like the kind uncle on the MRT who didn't just show me the right route. He explained which line was faster, which station had the shorter walk, and even which exit would save me time. The kind of detail only someone who genuinely cared would bother sharing. Or the stranger at the hawker center who noticed me hesitating at the counter and quietly stepped in to help me order the proper way. Not because he had to, but because he wanted me to enjoy the food the way locals do. Then there were the conversations about kaya toast, soft-boiled eggs, kopi. Not just what they are, but how to eat them, why Singaporeans love them, and the childhood memories behind them. Before I knew it, people were teaching me about festivals like Hari Raya, Deepavali, and Chinese New Year not from a tourist perspective, but from their own lived experience, their own family traditions, their own stories. And that's when it hit me. Singaporeans may not start the conversation, but they definitely finish it with heart. What began as simple interactions slowly grew into friendships. The kind where people invite you to try new foods, explain their customs, or message you just to make sure you're settling in okay. It surprised me, because behind that quiet exterior is a level of kindness that is deep, thoughtful, and real. Not loud, not flashy, but honest. And honestly, that's the kind of connection that stays with you. Conclusion. So no, Singaporeans are not unfriendly. They're private. They're focused. They're busy. They're efficient. They're calm. And once you talk to them, they are some of the kindest people you'll ever meet. What I've learned is this. Singaporeans aren't closed off. They're just respectful of your space until you show them you're open to connection. All it takes is one step from you. One question, one moment of curiosity, and suddenly the entire city transforms. The smiles appear, the warmth comes out, the conversations flow. You start to see the real Singapore, not the quiet trains, not the serious faces, but the people behind them. Helpful, thoughtful, sincere. And if you're willing to reach out first, you'll realize something powerful. Singapore isn't a place where friendliness is loud. It's a place where friendliness is felt. That's what I discovered here. And honestly, I'm grateful for it.